Hello, and thank you for joining. This is Violet Nikolici Lowery with A+ Professional Resumes. Today, I'm going to talk about some winning tips for your resume. I was asked by Carlos Gill, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Carlos Gill with JobsDirect USA for putting on this virtual job fair to help you get back to work. So let's get started. I am a certified professional resume writer, and I'm a certified empowerment and motivational coach, and I'm a certified workshop presenter. And I went to Nova Southeastern University, and I have my master's in business there, and my office is located in South Florida. And you could also reach me at violet@violetonresumes.com, and my phone number is 954-839-8552. You could also access my free resume writing video at www.violetonresumes.com. And today we're going to go over some effective tips, and then I would like for you to take action and implement them, and you will be successful. So let's get started. Here are some tips for an effective resume. You want to have a crisp, clear, and concise resume. You want to make sure that it's error-free. When you're starting with your resume, you want to make sure that you have your contact information clearly listed at the top, and also you want to test out your phone number. Believe it or not, some people transpose numbers all the time, so you want to make sure that that is your phone number. And here's another tip. On your voicemail, when you're leaving a phone number that is going to be accessed by that potential employer, you want to leave a crisp, clean message identifying yourself. Because sometimes employers, when they call to schedule an interview and they don't hear that person's name, they may think it's the wrong number. So make sure that you identify yourself. For example, hi, this is Violet Nikolici Lowery. I'm sorry I missed your call. Please leave a detailed message and I'll be happy to return your call. Thank you very much. And that's it. Now, you also want to have a professional resume email. Okay, when you're looking for a job, you want to identify yourself. So try and go to Gmail and get your name. For example, violetnicolicilowery@gmail.com. That might be long, so maybe I'll just say violetnlowery@gmail.com. You want to go ahead and identify your name at Gmail. It's one of the best email addresses to utilize. And you want to make sure that it's professional, okay? No babyGotBack@AOL.com or anything like that. Make sure that it's professional. And again, you want to have a format that is crisp, clear, and concise, and you want to have your job target listed right at the top. You want to focus on what it is that you're seeking. If you're an accountant, you want to list accountant. Whatever the job posting is, you want to make sure that you're crystal clear to the employer as to what you're looking to do. Don't make the employer guess. Make sure that you do this. A lot of people are making mistakes, and some people will advise you on putting an objective and things like that. Here's my advice. If it works, use it. If it doesn't work, try something new. With my clients, we always do test things. I may do one version with this target and another resume with a different target. Whatever's getting the most hits, that's what you go with. I am not the genie of all resume writing on the planet. So I can only give you some advice, what's worked 100% of the time with my clients. And what you could do is you could implement some of these things and see what works for you. I always learn from my clients as well. So whatever you think is going to work, that's what I want you to utilize. So let's go on. You want to make sure that you have a powerful opening. Look at this eagle. That is powerful. It has the American flag in the background. This is very powerful. That's what you want to do. What are you known for in your industry or your profession? What are you known for? You're a dynamic what? What are you known for? You want to have a powerful opening. You know, executive with over 10 years of experience. So what does that do? Is that attention grabbing? Maybe not. You want to go ahead and grab the attention of the reader. Okay? So really the first half of the first page sells you. If you can't grab their attention, just like a headline in a newspaper, just think of it like that. When you see a headline in a newspaper and it caught your attention, it doesn't matter if it's on page 69 of section F, you're going to go there and read it. Why? Because it caught your attention. And that's your job on your resume, to capture the attention of the reader. So that's very important to have a powerful opening. You can practice and you could see what is it that's going to work, and then you go with that. Again, what do you have to offer? What is your value-added benefit to the employer? What have you done? Okay, again, you might want to ask your peers in the industry or maybe your managers. What I always tell my clients to do is I always ask them to give me a performance appraisal review. I ask them for that is because I can utilize that as a tool when I'm doing the client's resume. So I could take information on there that their manager or their supervisor has written comments about them, and I could utilize that and put it in the resume. I always incorporate different elements to capture the attention of the reader. I might include some quotes. I might include charts and graphs and all kinds of different things. And I'll show you some examples a little bit later. But all you have to do is focus on what it is that the job is and have relevant information. Okay? But you do have to put in there what you have to offer. Why hire you and not the next person? And here's my perfect example here. You need to make a great first impression. You see the guy right there? He's trying to knock out his competition, and that's what you need to do. Your resume needs to stand out, and you need to make a great first impression. And again, once you get the call for the interview, that first impression also goes with you to the interview. So you want to be on your guard all the time and be on your toes, and you make sure that you make a great first impression. Highlight all of your skills. As you can see in this little picture here, that there's different ways. You can highlight them by your actual skills that are technical skills maybe, your education, your licenses, certifications, your past experience. You want to make sure that you highlight all of the assets that you have and all of your strengths for this particular job. Look at the job description. What are they asking for? Make sure that you're giving the relevant information they're asking for and not something that's irrelevant, okay? It's very important to highlight your skills. You want to use keywords and buzzwords and industry-specific lingo. For example, if you're a nurse, you want to use a lot of medical terminology on there. For example, vital signs. Or if you're a registered nurse, you want to include on there that you're a registered nurse. Maybe include your license number. There's so many different factors on the keywords and buzzwords. And keywords and buzzwords are utilized in resumes because companies are getting thousands and thousands of applications and resumes, and these keywords and buzzwords are pulled up, and then they can access your resume. So make sure that you have these keywords and buzzwords. Look at the job description. What is your industry lingo? If you're, let's say, in technology, you have Java and VB.NET and SQL and all of these different specific terms that you need to have in your resume. Make sure that you look at the job description and include these words. It's very, very important. Use action verbs. For example, when you are writing your experience on your resume, use words, instead of using responsible, use recruited to, managed, created, implemented, tasked with, handled, spearheaded, pioneered, these types of words, so they know that you have done this, okay? Developed, programmed, all of these different things, you need to include those as opposed to responsible for, okay? You want to show that you have done something, that you were a leader, that you took charge of a project, you oversaw something. So you want to utilize these words, okay? These are very powerful. Just think of, instead of you were responsible for, and you spearheaded a project instead of you were responsible for a project. It's a different impact, and especially at the level of positions that you're going for. If you're at an executive level position, you might want to use those words more so than just saying you were responsible for. You want to match what you're going for with your resume. Oh, and here's something else. Someone asked me just recently, well, what if I have different jobs that I want to go for because I'm qualified? For example, sales, marketing, management, sometimes some of those things overlap. But if the job is for sales professional, target your resume for sales professional. If it's for management, target it for management. If it's for marketing, target it for marketing. and incorporate all of the elements, but focus on what they're asking for. So if it's a marketing position, you want to focus everything on marketing, utilize the marketing terms like strategic marketing plan and documents that maybe you created, special events, all of these different things that pertain to marketing as opposed to management, because management is going to be team building and business planning and all of these different things, whereas maybe in marketing you don't need to have that type of thing. Okay, so you want to be cognizant of what it is that your focus is. Here's something that comes up all the time. I speak at numerous job fairs throughout the state of Florida and even outside of the state of Florida. But more importantly, I see thousands and thousands of resumes on a weekly basis, and lots of individuals don't know that you shouldn't use pronouns. Don't write your resume that I did this and I did that. Write in the third person, okay? So you don't want to write I was responsible for. Again, tasked with, charged with, managed, these types of things. So you want to write in the third person and no pronouns unless it's a quote or personal statement, something to that effect. Use italics and bolding where necessary and highlight key points. You're going to see some examples from myself. Again, you may have someone that likes it and someone that doesn't like it. It's just a matter of preference. The other day, I'll just let you know that I had a client that was down here, and he went to his daughter's wedding in New Jersey. And I told him, because he wants to look for a job in New Jersey, I said, why don't you schedule some interviews or meetings with people that you know up there? So maybe you could do that while you're up there anyway for your daughter's wedding. And he said, I never thought of that. So he was very fortunate enough to set up some meetings and some interviews. And I did his resume, and one of the resume versions had a chart on it. And the recruiter was very impressed with it. And so, again, it's all a matter of preference. Some people don't like the chart. They think it's too busy. And that's fine. Then take it out. But you could test it. You could use one with and one without and see which one bites. And you will see that I have totally different ways of writing resumes, very creative to the standard professional. So there's so many different ways to structure your resume, but make sure that you get your message across. Again, list recent relevant information and usually go back a 10-year history. What I find is some individuals try and list everything on the planet on their resume, and it's not necessarily the case. This is just funny. I mean, if you were babysitting or you worked at Dairy Queen or something when you were younger, and now you're a marketing strategist for a company, obviously that doesn't go on there. A lot of times in writing a resume, it's also common sense. You have to apply things that are relevant to the position at hand. So if you want to incorporate other facets of your life, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless it pertains to the job at hand. And usually 10 years is a good history to go back, because technology is changing so quickly and people are moving up in their careers and such. And so you want to go ahead and keep relevant with your resume and always keep it up to date. Here's where I always go over and over and over with my clients, because I spoke to numerous recruiters, managers, hiring managers, employers, executive levels, and the main thing is what they want to see is measured results. What have you done at your previous job, and why should I hire you? So if you're in sales, numbers play a huge role. Management play a huge role. Even in professions like nursing, administrative, any profession has measured results, okay? Because you're always getting measured at your job from some facet. They want you to do filing of 100 files, and you only did 50, okay? So you're being measured all the time. So if you're a sales professional, here's an example. Generated $5 million in sales within the first 6 months, okay? You can go further and include what your goals were. And let's say your goal was to do $500,000 per month. You've completely exceeded that by, and then you do the measurements. Percentages are great. That's why I told you, including charts and graphs and things like that. I had a client, again, I told you lots of times I have I incorporate charts and things on a resume. And I had a client that was going for a financial position. There was actually 547 people that applied for this job, and only 8 were called back, and he was one of them. And because he had a chart on there, and he's in finance, and obviously charts and reports and all of these different things are vital in the industry, the recruiter was attracted to this because of that. So again, matter of preference, but use specific measured results in order to get your message across. Here's one thing that a lot of job seekers are facing today, and maybe even you're facing today. You were laid off or fired or something to that effect, or you just said you wanted a new career, and now you have a gap on your resume. This is posing a problem for individuals today. You see, an employer wants to hire someone that's employed. They are the most accepted at the moment. People like to hire people that are employed or recently laid off or something like that. If you haven't been employed for over a year, you're going to have a problem because you have a gap on your resume. And of course, it may be a legitimate reason, obviously, because you got laid off, the company went belly up, or whatever the case may be. But you have to fix this. And one way, and I talk about this all the time, and it's 100%. It works 100% of the time. You need to close the gap, and you need to do something. I always tell my clients and people in the community to go and volunteer. What does this do? It helps you network. It helps close the gap on your resume. And it also helps you giving back to your community. There are so many organizations out there that need people to help them. And what I recommend my clients do is go somewhere that's very close to them and try and volunteer in your said profession. Example, let's say you're an attorney and maybe you went to work for the American Red Cross and you gave some advice, or you were a career counselor, for example, and you go to your local workforce and you say, I want to talk to some job seekers and help them out maybe. Or you're a nurse, go volunteer in a hospital. Or you're an accountant, volunteer for the Heart Association on their annual fundraiser where you can utilize your skill. Volunteer in your homeowners association. Whatever it is that you want to do at your children's school, if you're a teacher. I mean, there's so many different opportunities. You just have to think outside the box. So you want to make sure that you close the gap on your resume, and it works 100% of the time. And now you're probably saying, well, how do I incorporate it in my resume? Now you either put it as relevant experience, or you put it as current professional experience or volunteer experience, but make sure that you put it on there to close the gap on your resume. Leaving dates off. This is the first red flag that if an employer doesn't see any dates on your resume, they will get rid of it immediately. So don't avoid the information. Make sure you put it on there, and don't leave anything off, okay? They will find out one way or another, and you're not going to get the call. So if you're a job seeker out there and you've left off key vital information like dates, and you're wondering why you're not getting called, this is why, okay? Again, here it is. Be honest. Be honest on your resume. I don't know, you've maybe seen the headlines, NFL coaches getting fired because they lied on their resume. Down here, there was supervisor of elections got fired because she lied on her resume. I mean, they will come back, and it might not come back right then, but it will come back to haunt you. So be honest on your resume. Emphasize your strengths. Once again, make sure that you emphasize what it is that you have to offer in a way that is eye-catching and appealing. Always try and position yourself in the best light. Very important. And I'm sure that if you haven't learned this already on the virtual job fair or through Carlos Gill, you need to network and be on LinkedIn. So once again, you want to emphasize your strengths. What do you have to offer? And be specific about that. You want to highlight everything that you have to offer to the employer as opposed to the next job applicant. Always try to position yourself in the best light. Don't forget to network and be prepared. Make sure that if you are not on LinkedIn, you're making a big mistake, because you could network, to millions and millions of people that are on there for every company. And here's a story. I don't know if you know, but Carlos, Gil, and I met through LinkedIn. We're professionals, and we networked on LinkedIn, and we became connected. And we've done fabulous things together in the community, trying to help job seekers get back to work. So it definitely works, and people are responsive to LinkedIn. Make sure that you volunteer. Get connected with organizations that pertain to your industry and become a member. Become active. Get on committees. This is how you're going to meet people, because you can network all day long. And the first person that makes a connection with you and says, hey, I like you, this, that, and the other thing, and now send me your resume. And then you're like, what do I do? So you want to make sure that you are prepared, network, and get out there. Now I'm going to show you a couple of quick examples on different things on resumes. So here's some professional experience that you could list, an example. And here you see very measured results, and it stands out, and it's not cluttered. It's very specific. It's crisp, clear, and concise. As you could see, here is the company name. Here is startup, acquisitions, restructuring, turnaround, cost savings, operational efficiency. This is what this person is an expert in at this particular job. Then it tells a little bit about the company and what that person did that was instrumental. Here are some other examples on how you could list your education. If you're a recent college graduate, you can list it this way. If your GPA is over 3.5, I would list it. If not, don't list it. Licenses, certifications, training, affiliations. Sometimes you have so much and you want to just categorize it as one. You could do that. I usually list them out and break them out, but this is also another way that you can do it. I'm published in many different things, but this is the most recent one. It's Resumes That Pop, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples. The next slide that you're going to see is an actual resume that's published in here, and there's another one as well. So here's one. This is just the first page that I put up here. I told you that you have to have it very clearly stated at the top as to what you want to do. This person, Director of Information Technology. Underneath, I just put a quick synopsis of him. Visionary leadership for global business solutions impacting infrastructure, revenue, and costs. Then I did a personal quote from him. And then other things you see that are very unique. There's quotes here. Instead of saying professional experience, I listed leadership performance. I gave a description of the company. Here's his proven success. I told you about including charts and graphs and things. Here's more measured results, identified and broken down, cost containment, technology leadership, and things like that. So this is one example of its eye-catching. Here are the areas of expertise. I mean, this is something that will catch someone's attention very quickly. And remember what I told you, the first half of the first page sells you. So that's what that one did. Now here's another one. This is actually a chef's resume that I did. He was in Chicago and he's relocating to South Beach. And this resume got him the call and the job that he wanted. And you can see it's very creative. I did it like a menu. The back side was actually broken down into different categories, dessert, main entree, and things like that. And it was just went on experience and things like that. So it was very creative. I even included hours. So this is a very creative spin on a resume, but it actually worked and got him the call. Here's a friend of mine locally. He's a very successful realtor, and he wanted a resume that he can include in his package to his clients or potential partners that would stand out. So I did a creative resume this way, highlighting different aspects of his professional career, also including his picture and his contact information. So this would not be something for the average person other than taking the picture off, because you don't want to include your picture or any personal information on your resume unless you're an actor, actress. Different professions like the marine industry have that. But other than that, you could utilize this. Let's say if you're in marketing, this is a really creative way to put your information down for a marketing strategist or marketing coordinator or director of marketing. So this is another sample of a resume. Now, these are cartoons that I always include to really put it in perspective. I looked over your resume, and the good news is I like the paper it was typed on. Do you really want to know the bad news? And you don't want to be faced with this situation when you're going out in public and you're going to a job interview. So you want to make sure that your resume is crisp, clear, and concise. It's focused. It's targeted to the position at hand, and you have relevant information. Your resume states that you've worked with 2 presidents, won the Nobel Prize, and climbed Mount Everest. That's all fine and dandy, but how are you at telemarketing? Again, relevant information. If you are going for a telemarketing position, you want to focus all of the energies and all of the keywords and experience that relate to telemarketing, as opposed to having these high-level positions and they're going to wonder, what is this all about? So you want to make sure relevant information. This is where it is today. We'll be in touch. I still have to interview a few other applicants. You don't want to be in this situation. You want to have a resume that stands out. You want to be that individual that stands out. You want to be able to network. You want to be the one who's the go-to person. You want to be the one who is known in the industry. They want to hire you. Why? Make sure that your resume stands out from the rest. At this point, I would like to thank Carlos Gill for having me as a guest today, and I wish you all much success. Obviously, it's Halloween time, holidays, Thanksgiving, and I wish all of you much, much success, and I want to thank Carlos Gill for including me. You could access my free resume writing video at www.violetonresumes.com. You can connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. My name is right there, Violet Nikolici Lowery. I'm with A+ Professional Resumes. I'm located in South Florida. My website is aplus.professionalresumes.com, and that is all spelled out. And again, my phone number is 954-839-8552. Once again, thank you very much to Carlos Gill with Jobs Direct USA and the virtual job fair. It's a very successful endeavor, and I thank him for all of his efforts. And again, happy holidays to everyone, and I wish you job search success. And again, I am available if you would like some help. Please feel free to reach out, but take action today and implement the things that we went over. All the best.